Transportation visibility has become uniquely important in 2024, and that's why several real time transportation visibility platforms have emerged. So, which are the top 10 real time transportation visibility platforms in 2024? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So, let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP supply chain and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients with digital transformation strategy, enterprise technology selection, implementation, as well as change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be top 10 real-time transportation visibility platforms in 2024. We published this list in 2023 as well. So you are not going to notice a lot of changes from that just because there have not been much advancements with these ecosystems. Just to align our expectations, the way we define the real-time transportation visibility platforms, networks, they are going to be slightly more carrier focused. So if a system has very strong supply chain, end-to-end supply chain from the procurement focused or supplier collaboration focused, they might not rank on this particular list. This is going to be uniquely applicable for the platforms that provide carrier-centric data. Now, the criteria that we use to compile this list is going to be product share, the acquisition strategy focused on the transportation visibility platforms. Then we look at product roadmap, we look at community, the ecosystem, win rate, as well as technology, strategy, investors. So all of these factors we combine collectively to compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Trucker Tools. And Trucker Tools is designed for freight brokers to see the load visibility. And again, this is a very small piece in the whole supply chain equation. So they are going to have data, but that data set is going to be extremely limited, even though they are going to claim that they have the transportation visibility capabilities or they are going to have the supply chain visibility capabilities, but the data set is going to be unique. So they have, for the most part, for all of these systems, the data is coming from the ELD integration just because the data is easily available. So a lot of systems have combined the ELD data, but depending upon the number of partnerships that you are going to have, depending upon the market share that you are going to have, you are going to have as much data, and that's what defines how much visibility you are going to have, how much traceability you are going to have, how rich your data is going to be, and how accurate your KPIs are going to be. That is all driven by the amount of data or the access to data you are going to have. So Trucker Tools is not going to have as much data compared to some of the other systems. For example, when you compare this with your Project 44 or 4 Kites, they are going to have far more data. But Trucker Tools is very friendly for SMB, especially if you're a freight broker and you are looking for load visibility, then Trucker Tools could be a great fit. The other limitations with Trucker Tools is going to be it does not cover the other modes of transportation. For example, if you look at air or ocean, then Trucker Tools is not going to be a great fit. It's really for trucking centric visibility. And that is the limitation that you are going to see with a lot of different platforms on this list, that they are going to cover just one mode. They are not going to have all of those modes. The UI is probably going to be clunky. That's what we hear from the users who have used the platforms. It is not going to be as well designed as some of the other platforms on this list. And the integration with TMS would require consulting help. So the licensing may be cheaper, but your consulting is probably going to be higher. So that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is Intell Trans. And Intell Trans is also suitable for SME companies needing global visibility. So this is also positioned for SME companies. So the strength that Intell Trans is going to have is that it is going to have far more mode data than your trucker tools. So trucker tools focuses on just the trucking data, but it is going to have the other modes as well, and then it's going to have the integrated TMS. So that's a huge plus, especially if you are going to combine the visibility data with your TMS processes, with the execution processes. So that's a huge plus, especially if you are going to be SMB and you are not going to have as much consulting budget. The limitations with Intell Trans is limited to road, rail, and ocean, and not necessarily designed for large enterprises. And the ecosystem is going to be substantially limited as well. So those are some of the limitations. So that's number 9. Now, number 8 on our list is Bloom Global. So Bloom Global is also for SMB companies needing global visibility. So the strength for Bloom Global is going to be that it also has multi-modal features, very similar to your Intell Trans, and the TMS is going to be integrated as well. That's a huge plus compared to your trucker tools, and they are part of the Wise Tech Global Group. So all of the capabilities that Wise Global has, they are also going to be bundled as part of the suite. So your TMS is going to be far stronger from the driver compliance perspective, etc. Those are the capabilities that your Wise Tech Global Group is going to have. So the platform is comparable to other platforms such as your Trimble, etc. on this particular list. The limitations with Bloom Global is the ecosystem is limited, not as well adopted or funded as the other options, and not as comprehensive as other options on this list. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Overhaul. And Overhaul, when you look at the kind of market that it is targeting and the capabilities it has, it is primarily a transportation risk compliance visibility as well as the insurance platform to reduce the risk of theft of cargo as well as recovery. So if you have this particular problem, then Overhaul is going to have far deeper capabilities. The other suites may not have as deep capabilities in this particular area. So the other strength for Overhaul is the global transportation visibility tool. So it is not going to have the other component that the other suites are going to have. And then you are also going to have unique integrations such as GSOC feed integrated along with the visibility, AI, and risk GPT capabilities. Those are very unique as well with Overhaul. The limitations that you are going to run into with Overhaul is the communication errors between the carrier and the platform. So the communication is not as well designed as with some of the other platforms. The limited network may require carriers to participate, and that's a huge problem overall in this particular space. If your carriers are not willing to participate, then you might not get the end-to-end visibility from the carrier perspective. So the experience is going to be the important. So for example, let's say if you look at some of the clunky technologies, and most likely the carriers are not going to participate in that because of the way the workflows are going to be designed, and because of that you are not going to get data as well as visibility that you're looking for. So that's where you might struggle with Overhaul. Not as well designed, and we might be cluttered with GPS pings. And some of the features of the well designed systems are going to be when you are going to have all of these operational data from GPS perspective. Sometimes the data could be too much that you are going to feel overwhelmed. You are not going to have the right level of insights that can be controlled. So that's where your granularity in the permissions, granularity in the design is going to be critical. So overall, Overhaul is not going to have the layers to enable all of those features, and that's why sometimes it could be overwhelming. So these are some of the limitations, and that's number 7. Number 6 on our list is Trimble Transportation. So Transportation used to be the visibility platform from the transportation perspective. Trimble has acquired. So now all of the capabilities that are going to be part of your Trimble portfolio is part of Transportation as well. So Trimble Transportation is best for global transportation companies seeking a global visibility as well as sustainability solution. And that is probably the reason when you look at some of the alignment in the industry. For example, Transportation is used by Blue Yonder as part of their partnership agreement, because Blue Yonder, they don't have their own network, and that's why they rely on partners. So they have alliance with Transportation. So for example, let's say if you're using Blue Yonder, that means you are using the carrier data from Transporian. So that's where Transporian is sort of positioned. The pros for Transporian is over 150,000 carriers are as part of the network, and that's a huge sample size. When you look at these smaller platforms, they are not going to have as many carriers. So you might need to recruit your carriers. And when you have so many carriers as part of the platform, the recruitment process becomes easier. You don't have to recruit as many carriers. So adoption is going to be far higher with systems like this. The other pros for Transporian is integrates with over 3,000 ERP as well as TMS systems, and that's a huge sample size. So they are going to have far more data in general. The power of Trimble's powerful maps as well as telematics technology. Trimble is very strong in the driver side compliance processes, the maps as well as telematics technologies. And because of that, you are going to find far more data in general that is going to be required as part of this platform. And then time slot as well as retail time slot management is going to be part of your Transporian as well, especially if you are going to be using this for your DSD centric processes. The limitations with Trimble is going to be mainly a European solution. So the US side of data is not going to be as strong from the geo perspective, relies on some data sets on other players such as ROMB, not as comprehensive as other solutions on this list. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is Shipu. And Shipu is best for companies looking for low transportation visibility, mainly focused in Europe. And if you look at the alignment of Shipu, Shipu is aligned with E2Open. And one thing you are going to notice in some of our videos, we have spoken about how great E2Open network is, but even they are not going to have the comprehensive network. So they are relying on Shipu's data for the carrier side of equation. Sometimes they might simply augment this data, even though they might have some data from the carrier perspective, but they are looking for as much data as possible to enrich their AI ML algorithms. So that's why they are partnering with as many companies as possible. And that's why you are going to see that companies are going after pretty much every company that are going to have any data to enrich their AI and ML algorithm. So that's why Shipu is a great data set, especially for the European market, European geo, and that's where E2Open might not be as strong. The pros for Shipu is they do carbon emission tracking, which is a unique plus for Shipu. They also have some of the truck positioning data, which is very, very unique to them. They are going to have far more precision in that, and machine learning to calculate ETA that everybody is going to claim. But Shipu, and again, depending upon how much data you have underneath, your ETA calculation is going to be as accurate. So the more data that you are going to have, you are going to have far more precise ETA. Now, depending upon how much you want to track or how much accuracy you are looking for, sometimes the limited data sets might be okay, but in other cases, you might require far more precise data sets. The limitation with Shipu is that network is not as strong as other platforms, and mainly an European solution and not as integrated suite as other platforms. So that's going to be a limitation. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Decarta MacroPoint. And this is also a visibility platform. This is going to be best for global freight visibility as well as carrier capacity for logistics intensive businesses. The strength of Decarta is that the ability to fine tune alerts and accurately track driver's location all the time. So if you compare this with Overhaul, where you are not able to fine tune alerts, so sometimes the platform could be overwhelming, and that's where Decarta data model as well as the permission sets that we are going to have, they are going to be far more refined to be able to get the insights that you are looking for. And that's where the enterprise platforms are going to differ from your SMB platforms or the emerging platforms. And the limitations that you're going to have with Decarta is expensive just because of all of those layers, and the carrier performance might not be as strong. Their data set is also going to be limited. It's not going to be as strong as some of the other platforms that we have on the list, and designed from the perspective of the logistics provider and limited carrier network. So those are some of the limitations. So that's number 4. Now, number 3 on our list is E2Open, and this is for best for global companies looking for corporate suite, including network planning as well as execution. So they have all of these components equally represented as part of their suite. from the transportation network perspective, their capabilities are going to be far greater. But when you are going to have tight embeddedness with the other component of the platform as well, sometimes that you might be able to use as part of the suite to be able to enrich your data. So that's going to be a unique advantage for E2 Open. The other strength for E2 Open is that the combined network channel as well as carrier, the richer data analytics, just because of the network, that is going to be far broader overall. The coverage is going to be far more compared to some of the other platforms. The limitations with E2 Open is that relies on Shipu for transport visibility data. It might not have as strong carrier data relying on Shipu. So technically E2 Open may not have as much carrier data, but because they have the other components, and that's why they are slightly stronger overall for the carrier data. But if you're looking for pure play carrier data, then Shipu might be a better bet for you. Now, E2 Open is expensive and not the best for companies looking for a standalone real-time visibility platform. If your goal is to acquire a standalone real-time visibility platform, then you have other components or other solutions or other suites platforms on this list. They might be a better fit for you compared to E2 Open, which is going to have far more bells and whistles that you are going to be acquiring as part of the suite. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is 4Kites, and this is probably one of the strongest real-time visibility platforms. They specialize in that. So if you're looking for a standalone platform just to track your carriers, that's where 4Kites is going to be really strong. Best for enterprises seeking a standalone platform for real-time transportation visibility. The other strength for 4Kites is going to be they have roughly 490,000 carriers, which is far higher than some of the other suites or the platforms that we have seen on this particular list. The ETAs are going to be 6 times more accurate just because of the coverage they are going to have from the network perspective. So that's very strong. And 98% of the global ocean traffic, which not a lot of suites are going to have. They have roughly 70,000 airports and 1.5 million monthly parcel and last mile load, which is very, very unique to 4Kites. Visibility past transportation to include yards, warehouse, as well as stores. So again, their data set is very comprehensive. The only other platform that is going to have the similar coverage is probably going to be Project 44. That's why they compete with each other head to head. And the other suites on this particular list are not going to be as comprehensive. The cons is going to be expensive, not as strong for the service parts or the parts data. And the reason why it is not as strong is because it is really focusing on carrier-centric data. So if you require for service parts data, then you are looking for something like E2 Open, the limited integration with other TMS systems. And the reason why the integration is limited is because it's a standalone platform for real-time visibility. So if your need is just the visibility, then it might make sense. Otherwise, you might want to look for some of the suites which are going to have tight integration of the TMS processes as part of the suite. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 2. Now, number 1 on our list is Project 44. And Project 44 is going to have very similar positioning as your 4Kites. They are targeted for SMBs seeking a standalone platform for real-time visibility. So that's where Project 44 is going to be slightly unique because they are targeting SMBs. Their pricing model is going to be far friendlier. So they have wider adaptability compared to your 4Kites. One of the unique alignment that you're going to notice with Project 44, Project 44 is aligned with O9 Solutions. So O9 Solutions is utilizing Project 44 data for their supply chain visibility solution. So that's how they are able to provide the complete control tower capability, end-to-end supply chain traceability, utilizing Project 44 data. So that's the alignment that you need to look for. So if you're looking for combined suite, then you might want to look for O9. But if you're looking for a standalone carrier-centric suite or real-time transportation visibility platform suite, then Project 44 might make sense. So the other strengths with Project 44 is the carrier compliance guarantee. And that is a huge deal in this particular space that not many platforms are going to have, because especially for the SMBs, if your carriers are not willing to cooperate or you don't have as much clout on carriers, you are not going to get the transportation visibility. The equation is going to be partial. So even though it is going to provide the visibility, but the visibility is not going to be complete, which is very important for supply chain traceability as well as transportation traceability and visibility. So the other strengths are going to be that they have roughly 230,000 carriers, which is again very high compared to the other platforms that we have on the list. They have 760 ELD providers over more than 48 countries. So if you're looking for global data sets combining all of different countries, then that's where Project 44 is very unique. They have roughly about 4.33 million drivers as part of their platforms, 3.55 million trucks, 800,000 fleets, and they are also GDPR compliant. So if you are going to be in the Europe region where GDPR compliance is going to be uniquely critical, especially since these data sets may need to go through GDPR compliance. So that's going to be a unique advantage with Project 44. The limitations with Project 44 is a steep learning curve, not an open platform, and requires carriers to agreeing on connecting. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number one. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to link the detailed article, so you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis, so you might want to check our YouTube channel as well as subscribe if you like. This podcast is also available in the audio form as WBS Rocks on Google, Spotify, and Apple. So we encourage you to check there and subscribe if you like. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2024, we are going to link that as well. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.